The gentleman from Texas recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Bumpus, I want to talk to you briefly about some very specific requests to the FTC. On March 9th, 2023, a number of House Judiciary Committee members, including myself, Ms. Lee, Mr. Van Drew, wrote the FTC concerning its ill-advised current approaches to mergers and acquisitions. And in that letter, the committee requested related documents and information. Later, Chairman Jordan and Chairman Massey reiterated these requests on April 5, 2023. It was over 7 months ago. There's still several requests, in particular items number 4 and 7, which will be the topic of my questions to you today. As a refresher, item number 4 is all documents and communications referring to or relating to the decision to withdraw the Trump administration's 2020 vertical merger guidelines. And then item number 7 is all documents and communications relating to the FTC's policy concerning early terminations. Those are the two primary scopes of what I want to ask you about. We understand that the FTC has not completed its productions of those requests. What's the status of the FTC's document collection and review of those two requests in particular?
Congressman, as you're aware, we've made 4 productions and have produced over 1,300 pages of documents so far. We are continuing to review documents and produce them on a rolling basis.
On those two specific requests, can you provide me any specific update as to the review and the production of those documents that are responsive?
I cannot, but as you know, our staff are in regular contact with staff on the committee and would be happy to engage with you on that.
All right. Well, what's the reason why you can't provide me with an update today? I know that that's the topic of some discussion that's been had before today's hearing, so I would expect that you would have been prepared to tell me when those documents could be produced or how many documents are left to review. Can you tell me any of that information?
Regrettably, I cannot, but I'm happy to take that back, take your concerns and your priorities back, and we will continue to work with the committee.
So how come you weren't prepared to answer that question today? That seems like a very basic question and, frankly, a reasonable question. I'm supposed to be asking about document production. Those are two requests have been made and reiterated not just by the committee but by the chairman. You've been working on them for 7 months. How come you can't tell me the status of that production?
I can tell you that we are continuing to review documents. We will continue to produce them on a rolling basis, and we are happy to continue our regular contact with staff members on the Judiciary Committee.
On those two specific requests, do you know if there are actual documents that are being reviewed internally, potentially responsive to those requests?
I don't know.
Do you know who would know at the FTC?
I'm happy to take that back. Again, I know your staff are in regular contact with staff at the FTC about all of the productions.
With respect to those two requests, numbers 4 and 7 from that March 9th, 2023 letter, do you know if any email notification or other steps have been taken to notify individuals at the FTC to preserve materials that may be potentially relevant and responsive?
Yes, my understanding is that notices have gone out to custodians and documents have been collected and placed in a central repository.
Who is the custodian of that central repository?
There are many people with access to that central repository who deposit and review documents.
Who would be considered the ultimate custodian of those records?
I'm not able to provide that information today, but we're happy to continue talking to your staff.
I'm still curious why you can't tell me who the custodian of those records are. You've been at the department for 17 years. In the Office of Congressional Relations, I would suspect you would know who the custodian of records is for this particular production request.
I don't.
Can you find out?
I am happy to take your request back, and I know your staff, again, talks regularly to our staff.
My question wasn't, will you find out? My question was, can you find out? Are you able to find out who the custodian of those records are?
I don't know that there is a single custodian of those records. Like I said, staff from across the agency have been collecting records and placing them into the repository for review.
Is it a large number of staff or just a limited number of staff that is the custodian or has access to that depository?
I don't know the numbers. I'm happy to take that back.
Would you say it's more than 50?
I don't know.
Is there anything you can tell me about that document production today?
Nothing more than I've already said.
My request would be in the next 17 seconds before we let you go or before I let you go is Next time you come, those are really important questions. I'll probably ask you the similar questions next time. I'd like to know who's in charge, the custodian of records. I'd also like to know, as it relates to items that have not been produced, what the status of that production is. That's the useful information that we need as the committee to make decisions on this side of the dais, and it will be helpful in reaching a conclusion as to our document request. So I would make that request of you. Thank you. I yield back.
Thank you.